Oh my goodness, y'all. I have some absolutely heartbreaking news about our Queen of Tea, Wendy Williams. Grab your tissues because this update is going to hurt your soul. According to her guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, Wendy is now cognitively impaired and permanently incapacitated. I know, let that sink in for a moment. But there's so much more to this story, and honey, we need to talk about whether we can trust anything coming from this so-called guardian's mouth. Now let's rewind a bit, because this story has more layers than a wedding cake. Many of us were actually feeling pretty hopeful about Wendy's situation, especially after she was last spotted in August 2024 during a shopping trip at a holistic wellness store in New Jersey. The store attendant said she seemed okay, which had us all breathing a tiny sigh of relief. And then, in early October, something major happened. Wendy did a phone interview with the Daily Mail. While she kept quiet about her own health issues. And honestly, who can blame her? She had plenty to say about the Diddy situation. And let me tell you, she did not hold back. In her own words about Diddy, what is really weird is that I have been told by so many people, Wendy, you called it, including some people from my family who have said the same. You know how I feel about that. It's about time to see this video on TV of Cassie getting pummeled. It was just horrific, but now you have to think how many more times, how many more people, how many more women, it's just so horrible. After that August sighting and her speaking out about Diddy, we all thought, finally, our girl is coming back to us. But chilly, the news that just dropped has shattered all those hopes. We're now hearing that Wendy has become cognitively impaired, permanently disabled, and legally incapacitated. I can barely type these words without tearing up. This bombshell information came straight from court documents filed by Sabrina, and y'all, it's devastating. The legal team described our beloved talk show host as an acclaimed entertainer who tragically suffers from early onset dementia, leaving her cognitively impaired. I mean, can you even imagine? Now here's where things get messy. This court filing is actually part of a bigger drama surrounding that documentary, Where is Wendy Williams, that aired on Lifetime. Remember how Sabrina tried to stop it from coming out back in February? Well, it aired anyway, and oh my word, what we saw was absolutely heartbreaking. The documentary showed Wendy's struggles with alcohol, and some scenes were just, I can't even. There was this moment where they found a bottle of vodka, and someone asked her, "Did you drink this whole thing today?" Wendy just snapped back, demanding they leave the bottle right where it was while she was recovering in bed. And then there was this other scene. My heart just breaks thinking about it, where Wendy got all agitated in the back of a car. But the most concerning part, when she was driving around her beloved New York City, she couldn't even recognize her surroundings. One family member dropped this bomb, suggesting she might be losing her memory, while another person pointed out that this wasn't just about drinking. There was clearly something more serious going on. Well, Sabrina just confirmed our worst fears about Wendy's health, and now she's taking legal action to protect certain sensitive information. She wants details about Wendy's health, family relationships, and finances to be redacted to protect her privacy. According to Sabrina, Wendy was taken advantage of during the filming of this documentary, claiming our girl wasn't even capable of consenting to being filmed. Can you believe they would do that to our queen? Honey, this legal drama gets even juicier. Lifetime's attorneys came swinging back at Wendy's guardian, saying she was trying to shut down free speech about a public figure. And the tea they spilled about this guardianship? Scalding. According to them, this system that was supposed to protect our girl instead isolated her from her family, left her largely alone and unattended in her apartment, exacerbated her self-destructive behavior and mental decline, and failed to prevent her use of alcohol. I mean, is anyone else's blood boiling right now? But wait, there's more. Entertainment One jumped into this mess too, filing their own counterclaim in Entertainment One versus Morrissey. And child, they did not hold back. They said Sabrina was trying to exceed the scope of her judicial authority over Wendy and was basically trying to cover up her own failures. They even accused her of denying Wendy perhaps one of her last chances to exercise her autonomy and honestly reach her fans in exactly the frank and unfiltered manner that was the hallmark of her career. The shade of it all. Let's talk about how we got here, because this journey is absolutely heartbreaking. Back in 2019, Wendy was diagnosed with alcohol-related brain damage. Remember when she made herself a hot topic that year? She opened up about staying in a sober house, trying to battle her addiction demons.
You know, Kevin and I have the Hunter Foundation for the Good of the People, and we recently launched our 888-5 Hunter number for those of you caught up in the struggle of addiction. Well, for some time now, and even today and beyond, I have been living in a sober house. When you see me come to work, glammed up, right after the show, I go across the street, I do my Pilates. I told you 2 hours a day, I like to take care of my body. And you know I've had a struggle with in my past, and I never went to a place to get the treatment. I don't know how, except God was sitting on my shoulder and I just stopped. But there are people in your family, it might be you, who've been struggling, and I wanted to know more of the story. So this is my autobiographical story, and I'm living it, and I'm telling you this.
But sadly, 2022 brought another setback. Wendy had to check into an undisclosed rehab facility again for treatment, and she spent 2 months in rehab being treated for severe alcoholism. The word on the street was that she never wanted to stop drinking, and the people around her in New York just let her continue. After those 2 months, she claimed she felt better than ever, but Chile, a neurologist in Florida, confirmed the damage alcohol had done to her brain. Y'all remember when Wells Fargo put her under guardianship in 2022? They were worried about undue influence and financial exploitation. Poor Wendy was so confused about them taking her money, saying,
"My thing is that I've been asking questions about my money. And when I began asking questions about my money, suddenly Lori Schiller has got no response regarding my money. I want my money. This is not fair." And Wells Fargo has no questions and answers with regarding my money.
For a while there, we all had our hopes up about Wendy making a comeback. There was even buzz about her starting a podcast. But then, oh honey, then came the night out that had everyone worried sick. Our girl was spotted drinking her way from Fresco by Scott all the way to the gay bar Townhouse in New York City. Rob Shooter spilled all the tea to Page 6, saying Wendy looked lonely sitting by herself, but then lit up like a Christmas tree when she saw someone she knew. The way Rob tells it on his podcast, Wendy was practically begging for company, saying, "Come and join me." When Rob mentioned he was with friends, Wendy insisted, "No, everybody." She was so desperate for connection that when they were ready to leave, she didn't want to let them go. It just breaks my heart thinking about our once fierce queen of media sitting there so lonely. And remember that Atlanta Women's Expo comeback that was supposed to happen in May 2023? Chilly. That situation was messy. Wendy had to be rushed to the hospital twice and ended up canceling. The promo video she made? The Expo team rejected it because, and this is the part that hurts my soul, Wendy seemed completely disoriented and was talking about still being married to Kevin. Can you imagine how that would have gone over with a Women's Expo audience? Then in February 2024, her medical team dropped another bombshell about her FTD and aphasia diagnosis. They said, over the past few years, questions have been raised at times about Wendy's ability to process information, and many have speculated about Wendy's condition, particularly when she began to lose words, act erratically at times, and have difficulty understanding financial transactions. In 2023, after undergoing a battery of medical tests, Wendy was officially diagnosed with primary progressive aphasia and frontotemporal dementia, FTD. The statement continued, Wendy is still able to do many things for herself. Most importantly, she maintains her trademark sense of humor and is receiving the care she requires to make sure she is protected and that her needs are addressed. She is appreciative of the many kind thoughts and good wishes being sent her way. Now here's where things get even more complicated, darlings. While we're all trying to process this devastating news about Wendy's declining health, people are raising some serious questions about Sabrina, the guardian who dropped this bombshell. And let me tell you why. This is the same woman that Wendy's family claims kept them completely in the dark. They couldn't even find out where Wendy was being treated, what treatment she was getting, or even talk to her directly. The only time they heard from our girl was when she managed to call them herself. I mean, doesn't that just set off all kinds of alarm bells? And with everything we've been hearing about Sabrina's behavior, can you blame people for side-eyeing every word that comes out of her mouth? Some folks are wondering if there's more to this story than what we're being told. Is Wendy's condition really as bad as Sabrina claims? Does the Guardian have anything to do with Wendy's deteriorating health? These aren't just random questions, honey. These are coming from people who've watched this whole situation unfold. The timing of all this is just suspicious. Right when that documentary exposed how isolated Wendy's been under this guardianship, suddenly we're hearing that she's permanently incapacitated? Chilly, something's not adding up here. People are starting to connect dots they didn't even know existed. But here's what keeps me up at night. We're watching one of the most iconic voices in media, our How You Doing Queen, seemingly slip away while surrounded by people who might not have her best interests at heart. This is the woman who built an empire on telling it like it is, and now she can't even tell her own story. Listen, I'm not saying Sabrina is lying about Wendy's condition, but I'm not saying it either. What do you think is really going on here? Is there something still being hidden about Wendy's condition? Could her guardian be playing a bigger role in this tragedy than we realize? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this conversation isn't over. We need to keep talking about this, keep asking questions, and most importantly, keep sending love and light to our Queen Wendy Williams. She might not be able to tell us how she's doing right now, but we can make sure people don't forget about the impact she's had on all of us. And remember to hit that subscribe button and smash that, like if you want to stay updated on this developing story. Because trust and believe, this tea is far from finished brewing.